The STREAMS project is a project focused on educating young scientists and looking at streams and rivers in Vermont.
Whenever you gather a data set like this, you've got a snapshot in time, and it's always interesting for future scientists to get hold of that data set.
Vermont EPSCoR is interested in gathering data on these streams, especially in streams where the state can't necessarily access. I'm Kathy Joe, I'm the STREAMS project coordinator. I got interested in aquatic ecology really early. I grew up on a river, so I used the river as a child, and I grew up with a love of the water. Our goal is to both gather data, but then also get lots of people interested in science. So yeah, it's a big operation. The STREAMS project has many people involved. We have faculty members that are overseeing specific teams of people. So there's teams of people working at other colleges, and the faculty will oversee a couple undergraduate students, and they'll work on a specific research project. Like at St. Michael's, they work specifically on all the macroinvertebrate communities.
I'm Declan McCabe. I'm an associate professor at St. Michael's College. The students on the STREAMS project have all been very excited from day one. There definitely was a bit of a buzz in the hallways, and once they got word, then they were already starting to plan their summers. So it was really exciting for me to see the excitement in them.
So we're summer interns for the Vermont STREAMS project. Our job is to collect macroinvertebrates that are indicators of species, or indicative species of health of the water in Lake Champlain.
I think for me, working with the high school students has been particularly rewarding. Seeing their faces when they pick up a rock and notice bugs on it, and telling them that those are indicative of a certain pollution. A lot of times people think back to their high school biology class, and it was reading out of a textbook and mixing things up in beakers. And to give people a real-world application to science is really interesting for most of the high school kids. They loved it. So.
I'm Evelyn Boardman. I'm a student at Rice High School, and I found a brochure about the STREAMS project, and I enlisted my mom, who's a science teacher, and my friend Kari.
My name is Kari Foote. I'm a senior at Rice High School, and I got involved in the STREAMS project when my friend Evelyn asked me to come. She said macroinvertebrates, and I've always been fond of bugs, so I was like, sign me up. And for the first, we did a week in June where we just went to UVM. We lived there for a while, and there were professors there who taught us how to collect samples and what we were looking for and what the project was about. And every 2 weeks we've been coming down to our 2 stream sites, and we've been collecting water samples.
Part of the reason that's great to talk to college students is people who are going into environmental fields of science in the future want to have an idea of what they're looking for, and interacting with the graduates kind of gave us a good idea of what kind of majors we might want to look at and kind of what the college scene is.
I'm Sharon Boardman. I'm a teacher at Rice Memorial High School. I teach science, and I'm part of the EPSCoR STREAMS project. I've actually learned a lot, so it's added to my base knowledge, which will help me, I think, be a better teacher.
I think science is a hard thing to avoid. I really don't understand people who can kind of separate themselves from it, because it's something that once you kind of get a taste for it, you really can't get it out of your head. Like, you're walking down a stream and you think, I wonder if there are macroinvertebrates in that riffle. But I think it's going to take a special type of student to understand what we're talking about. Yeah. One who's interested in the world around them.
The STREAMS project is looking a lot at land use. Everyone's big concern is Lake Champlain, but oftentimes they forget that the streams are often what feeds the drivers in Lake Champlain.
So we send out our teams of high school students and undergrads to go collect information about the water quality in those streams, as well as the biological communities.
No one high school could do that on their own, but collaborating with 13 or 14 other high schools gives you the ability to have replication as a scientist would want. You can't really replicate that well when you're doing your science within the context of your biology course. You need more power, you need more people, and that's the power of the data set.
It's been fun to watch all the faces of the high school students when we go out to the streams. You know, when you pick up a huge bug and go, ah, it's really gross. Or, you know, some people are really excited to look at them under a microscope, or some people are really excited to look at, how much phosphorus is in their water sample, or, do the math do the equation and see what you come up with. So there's all sorts of opportunities to encourage future scientists.
And then the various groups split off and did their own thing during the summer. So the St. Mike's group did the macroinvertebrates, and the guys from Norwich University, for example, are looking at a specific metric for comparing streams. The guys up in Johnson are doing their piece, which involves phosphorus analysis. And then the students from Puerto Rico work together with the students from UVM to work on water quality in terms of phosphorus and also in terms of coliform bacteria.
It was definitely a very good experience. I'm definitely taking a lot back home. I really think it sort of like changes your perspective about everything, because you're just like, oh, it's a stream, you know, whatever. But then you're like, no, the stream just connects with this other like river or whatever, and then it all ends on Lake Champlain, and like thousands of people, you know, take from that water and whatever. So it's like, it just sort of changes like how you see things.
The students from Puerto Rico, it's really a great link because they can take what they've learned from this project, take it back, and they can talk about that back in their own schools, in addition to coming back to Vermont. One special thing about the STREAM project is it really does community science. We really have science happening at the high school level, at the college level, and it all gets integrated together. We have pledged to the high schools that we'll share whatever data we get immediately on the website.
And I think it's really great that NSF has started to reach out into the community and build more science infrastructure in the form of people.
One of the end products from this project will be this data set. And we've already got a school recruited in the Bronx, and Charles Goodnight from UVM is working with them to actually use the data, look at the interactions, look at the land use, and look at it strictly from an analytical point of view. These guys can't easily get up here to do the field work. So we're doing the field work, and they'll actually be able to work on the data. Just as the Vermont schools will also be able to work on the data, except that the school in the Bronx is specifically focused on analysis.
Already it's gotten many students interested in going into either an environmental career or a science or technology career here in Vermont.
So you're getting students who maybe didn't realize that they could be scientists, and you're catching them at the high school level and you're saying, hey, yeah, you can be a scientist and you can contribute data that actually means something and will be used beyond your classroom.
But when you come and participate in a project like a Streams project, you learn, oh, you know, I've always wondered what lives under these rocks in my pond in my backyard, and there's somebody who actually got a job looking at the insects under the rock in my backyard. So, you know, it's one of those things like, oh wow, I could do that for the rest of my life, and it would be great. NSF EPSCoR's had a huge impact already. You know, we have over 70 people involved in this project in particular, and they have their own networks of people. And so I think just in the fact that they're able to participate in the project, you know, get equipment for high schools that they may not be able to afford themselves, so they can continue this kind of work or other kind of work in their high schools, you know, build up their classrooms and maybe take more classes as a teacher so they can teach better science classes, do different experiments, and many plan to go out, you know, years after the Streams project may stop. And, you know, they've learned, they have the background, and they can teach their own students. So, and those students, you know, they'll go on to be educated and, you know, maybe come back to something they learned in the Streams project. I like the students the best. They're the most fun, so they make me laugh, and I learn something from them all the time, so that's the best part.